Felix has always been, even in the last two films, he was there in the shadows. Uh, we had some mention of him in the last, but um, he's back, um, trying to coax Bond back into the life. Um, I think he's gotten to a point, it seems, where there are very few that he can trust anymore. And certainly when it comes to this job, in that he needs someone who doesn't hold a U.S. passport, there's really only one man that he'll look for, and ultimately he finds him, and that's our guy, Mr. Bond. Well, it's an enormous machine. It's a huge logistical endeavor to put this film together, to put any of these films together. You have the scale of the production, but as well, of course, you have the scale of the history behind it and expectations that come with it. So you would think that there is enormous pressure and there is a sense of expectation. But what I've loved about working on these films from the start is, even though we have, this Leviathan that, we're trying to build together, we do it with a sense of family. And there's, as I've described it, it's almost like a massive, enormously budgeted independent film in terms of the spirit and the energy that everyone brings to the table in working on these things. It's been a lovely gift in my career to be a part of this, and so I was only pleased to come back and rejoin the fun. So I watched him, from the beginning of that journey, till these last steps here, and it's been really wonderful to see his evolution through that, to see him, take on, not only the expectations and all the logistical challenges and, the hard work of, this sequence of films, but also having started, at the beginning with him and watched him now. I missed a couple in between, but to see him grow into the responsibility and to see him become this leader, when at the start, I think naturally, as with anyone, there was a bit of uncertainty, with him. So that's been really gratifying. That's been really a pleasure to look at him, having been away, as I said, for a couple of films, and go, oh, look at this guy. He is, he's captaining this thing now, and that's really cool to see. And he's also, beyond that, Daniel's, an incredible, he's an actor who's always in the moment, very intense, of course, bringing his signature style and characteristics to this character, but at the same time, both on and off the camera, just an incredibly, generous, generous presence. I think these guys live carefully on the fringes of what is acceptable. But I think the most important thing, and we've gone back and kind of looked at some scene particularly that we shot early on, and kind of relayered it with this sense of familiarity and this sense of Felix's bond with Bond. And I think more so than the politics of who they are and what they do, and the disparate places that they come from, I think the exploration is really about that. It's about this love for one another, this respect for one another, and also I think, a love, for the game. The film has a wonderful tone to it, not only a cinematographic tone, but but Carrie is, as expected, as a new director to the series. I think, you know, taking it up, taking it up a notch in terms of the in terms of the scope of the filmmaking, but also in terms of the intimacy, marrying those two things together in a way that is kind of stylized in a contemporary way. It's it's not an easy task, but I think, as it turns out, for the present, for the here and now, he was the right call, and the right man for the job. So it's been really a pleasure to watch him work. Again, a lot of expectations, a lot of balls to keep juggling as he works through this. But he's done it like water off a duck's back. The photography is really it's just gorgeous. There's a warmth to it, but also there's a vivid quality that's arresting. And there's an expectation from audiences that we're not going to retrace old steps with this. And I think in terms of the cinematography, it really is pushing the envelope, I think. I'm always amazed with cinematographers, the ways in which they're able to harness the technology and push it a little bit further with each chapter. And Linus is just he's a bit of a maestro with all of this. Also, we're not shooting on, this isn't digital, we're shooting on film. So the tones and the warmth that that brings to the screen, it just, at least to this point, it can't be matched. Billy Magnuson plays Ash, and Felix has been partnered with Ash, who is really, kind of mixed up in the political appointee side of the business. Felix is obviously, a long time professional. And so they're partnered, this kind of odd couple, and, sent out into the field. And they pursue Bond. As well, Ash has heard, stories of Bond, and, doubtless is equally excited to meet up with him for various reasons, which we discover as we head down the road. But it's an awkward relationship. But Felix is one who's used to having to deal with with what's thrust upon him, and do his job. And so they find themselves in Port Antonio, in Jamaica, and they pursue Bond. They catch up with him, and we go from there. This is the greatest film franchise in the history of cinema. And what Daniel has done in this last chapter, or latest chapter of the franchise, is to breathe a contemporary life into it and to make it his own in a way that's pretty rare and pretty extraordinary for a guy to come in with the pressure that was on him when he entered into the space, to really stamp a pretty strong signature on this mammoth enterprise that is the Bond series. And so that we're here, the home of Bond, the birthplace of Bond, where Ian Fleming wrote it in the books, is it feels right. It feels earned. And the point for us now is just to do it all justice. But I think as I've been looking at it, doing this latest chapter, and I think always there's a tendency in working on these to be enormously respectful of what's come before, to pay homage where appropriate, but also to create it in the present at the same time.